When you don't text an avoidant first, the very first thing they feel is not what you feel. You feel the silence instantly. Your mind starts spinning, wondering if they noticed, if they care, if they're relieved, if they've already forgotten you. But avoidants don't feel the absence in real time. Their first reaction is usually a quiet exhale, a subtle drop in pressure. Not because they don't want you, not because they're happy you're gone, but because their nervous system is wired to be overwhelmed by closeness and relieved by space. So when you don't text first, the emotional atmosphere shifts. At first, they interpret this shift as calm. They feel less watched, less expected of, less on the hook. It's not personal, it's regulation. Their body relaxes before their mind even knows why. They don't immediately think, "Why aren't you texting me?" They think, "I can breathe." But then something interesting happens. As the hours pass, the absence becomes noticeable in small, quiet ways. They check their phone and realize your name isn't there. They scroll, and your bubble isn't glowing. They reach for their device out of habit, then quickly put it down because they don't want to admit, even to themselves, that they were hoping to see you there. Avoidants don't feel longing directly. They feel the discomfort of something missing before they recognize that the something is you. If your energy has always been the one initiating, soothing, reaching, comforting, then your silence feels like a sudden shift in weather. They don't know what changed, but they feel the temperature drop. And here's the part most people never realize. Avoidants notice your silence far sooner than they will ever let on. They won't show the awareness, but they feel it. They get curious, quietly. They wonder what you're doing. They wonder if you're upset. They wonder if you found someone else. They wonder if the emotional atmosphere shifted because you're moving on. They don't reach out, not because they don't care, but because reaching out means vulnerability. And vulnerability for them feels like walking into a burning building. So instead, they watch. They check your profile. They look at your last scene. They hover over typing a message and then backspace. They start replaying your last conversation in their mind, not searching for mistakes, but searching for clues. Did something feel off? Did I miss something? Why does this silence feel different? Avoidants are not immune to your absence. They are terrified of what your absence might mean. But their fear doesn't look like yours. Yours shows up as an urge to reach out. Theirs shows up as a need to retreat and observe from afar. When you don't text first, avoidants enter a stage of silent monitoring. They wait to see what you will do. They wait to see if the old pattern returns. They wait to see if you come back to them, because that is what always felt safe. Not your presence, your predictability. Avoidants crave stability, but they only know how to receive it from a distance. So when you break the pattern, you aren't punishing them. You are interrupting their internal script. At first, they feel confused. Then, they feel something deeper, the slow rise of awareness. I haven't heard from them. Why haven't they texted yet? This feels strange. Are they pulling away? Did I do something wrong? Did they lose interest? For avoidance, this awareness arrives delayed, sometimes hours later, sometimes the next morning. But when it arrives, it starts to poke at a place they try hard to ignore. Their fear of abandonment, their fear of losing someone silently, without warning, the same way they often slip away from others. Silence to an avoidant is both comforting and confronting. Comforting at first, confronting later. And then comes the turning point. The moment when the silence is no longer calming, but unsettling. They start to feel the weight of your absence. They try to distract themselves, scrolling, working, staying busy, but their mind drifts back to the quiet. Not to the quiet itself, but to the question underneath it. Why aren't they reaching for me? This is the moment missing you begins. Not as longing at first, but as confusion, curiosity, discomfort. Avoidants are not good with the unknown. So when you pull back, they begin to fill in the blanks with stories. Maybe you're mad. Maybe you're changing. Maybe you're slipping away. Maybe you're losing interest. They won't admit these thoughts, but they feel them. And here's the most fascinating part. Avoidants often interpret your silence as emotional strength. They see it as grounded, stable, self-contained energy. And because avoidants are unconsciously drawn to people who feel emotionally safe, your calm silence often becomes magnetic to them. Your non-initiating does what over-texting never could. It lowers their defenses. It signals, "You're safe. I'm not chasing you. I'm not pressuring you. I'm not pulling you." And suddenly, something they never expected happens. The door inside them creaks open. They begin to feel the things they couldn't feel when you were trying so hard. They remember your softness. They remember your presence. They remember how they felt when you were near. And because you're not flooding them with emotion, their fear doesn't get triggered. Instead, you become a quiet thought in the back of their mind, the kind that grows. This thought becomes the beginning of longing, a slow ache, a quiet curiosity, a gentle pull. Not enough to make them text immediately, avoidants rarely act quickly, but enough to make them check your profile again, enough to make them reread old messages, enough to make them replay how your voice sounded when you said their name. Avoidants miss you slowly. They miss you quietly. They miss you when the noise of pressure disappears. And when you don't text them first, the noise disappears. Their fear softens. Their heart wakes up. Their mind finally has room to notice what they tried not to feel. And eventually, they reach the part of the process they never show. The part where they wonder if they should reach out. They debate it. They fantasize about what they'd say. They imagine how you'd reply. They type and delete. They hesitate because the fear of being vulnerable is still louder than their desire to connect. But your silence creates the exact emotional climate avoidants need in order to feel safe enough to return. Not because you're manipulating them, not because you're playing games, but because your stillness takes away their fear. And without fear, they can finally feel. And the feeling is this: I miss them. I wonder what they're doing. I hope they haven't moved on. Why do I feel this now? Do I still have a chance? Your silence is not emptiness. It is information. It shows them something they could not see before. And in that clarity, something inside them shifts. They don't come back because you text them. They come back because your calm makes space for their heart to finally speak. If this softened something inside you, if it felt like truth, if it made you feel seen, stay here. There's more. Welcome to Attachment Alchemy Lab. You're safe here.